Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. It's me, Caster, and we're going to go through how to max out your stats in your Corvette that you build in No Man's Sky. Of course, this is part of the new Voyagers update, and I've been really enjoying this one, building lots of different ships and trying them out and never satisfied, you know, always want to try another build. But today we're going to go through how to get those stats of your Corvette up to the best possible depending on what you build. So we're going to create a new Corvette. And I'm just going to go through some of the pieces that actually affect the stats of the Corvette. So if you have a look in the top right hand corner of the screen, you'll see that we actually need to have landing gear, habitation module, cockpit, and a reactor installed. They do offer different stats in terms of what kind of like reactor you put on there and what kind of landing gear you put on there. So if we have a look at our landing gear, if we hover over here, you'll see that it has some stats. This particular one, the one that's flashing, this is kind of the standard one you get, is a launch cost of -12 and a boost of +5. If we go over the Thunderbird landing, you'll see that they have different stats. And actually, the standard one is better in terms of stats that you're getting out of it than the Thunderbird landing thrusters. If we have a look here at the Magfield landing, you'll see that actually the standard ones are better because they have +1 extra boost. So we are going to go for these today, and I'm just going to put these out like so, just to make a standard starship here. I'm not going to do anything too fancy overall. And we need a hab bay as well, so I'm going to go for the ambassador one. If we hover over here, it will say cargo slots +3. The more you put on, the more cargo slots you get. So let's build this out a little bit. I put some habs on, and I've put on the ambassador class landing bay because I do like that. We've got the cockpits here, and they offer different things as well. And actually, in terms of the stats, I would say a boost +2, that's boost +7, but maneuverability +2, the ambassador. So depending on what you pick, you're going to get different ones. So I'm going to go with this, and that's going to give us some boost and maneuverability. We also need a reactor. So we have 4 different reactors to choose from. And just so you're aware, I am doing this in creative mode, so I have access to all of the modules here, and it's easier for me to show how to do all of the upgrades of your stats in creative mode. We've got some different reactors. So the Zenith class reactor will give us these stats, whilst the Medusa class reactor actually gives us maneuverability and boost, as well. The Zenith one gives us some warp cell efficiency and hyperdrive range. And then the Azimuth class reactor is actually launch cost and pulse drive efficiency, whilst the Kato class reactor is shield strength. So you can have as many as these as you want. You can have different ones. You can have a maximum of 100 pieces to build your ship with. So I'm going to put down a couple of these. Actually, I'll put down one to start, and then what I'm going to do is go for a weapon. So you can see here you have the phase beam, heat dispersion, damage, photon cannon array, which has fire rate, damage and heat dispersion as well, and some sort of torpedo launchers. Just going to put on some photon cannons on the side here for now, just to get them on. And then we're going to put on some thrusters. Now there's a lot of thrusters to choose from here, which I like. I like the fact that there's a lot you can choose from. We've got the Heavy Titan one I really like, and I really like the Thunderbird one as well, which actually gives you quite a nice amount of boosts. The Ambassador one, the maneuverability on that isn't great. And of course you can put a mixture of these on, you can put different ones on. Let's go with these bad boys and switch it around like so. So they are on. And now you can see we've got our stats in the corner. And basically we can actually finish this off if we wanted and finalize current design or store design for later, and then come back and re-edit either way like that. But what we're going to do is continue. And we're just going to see how we can get these stats up by just putting extra items onto this ship. So if I put another Zenith core reactor on here, we'll see that it will give us less of the maneuverability but more hyperdrive range, so it's affecting both of those stats. Now it's not taking too much off our, actually it's given us 0.1 extra maneuverability but a bunch of hyperdrive range, so it's probably good to have 2 there. We'll get the Medusa one, we'll put that on, that will give us some more maneuverability as well. Then let's go for another boost here. The twin eco jets are quite good, but the twin turbojets probably have more and are going to give us more maneuverability. And then we can keep going, putting things on. So if we want some shield, let's put on this reactor on top here. Why not? And that will give us our shield. I mean, our shield strength has gone up quite a bit there, which is quite nice. And if we added, say, this high energy field here, that's going to put our shield strength up even more. So it's actually telling you what it's doing, which is great. Now, if we add some of these items, the structural decorations, and we hover over it here, you'll see that it doesn't really do a lot in terms of your stats, but let's put some of these on and see how it's affecting the stats that we have currently. So if I put this radiator case in here and have a look at our stats and our maneuverability specifically, it's actually going up a little bit because it's giving us a bit of air resistance, I believe, and that's why that is helping us with our maneuverability. So I put this like large super cruise cowling on, you can see that actually our maneuverability has gone down there, right? But we can make that go up with other items, so it's not exactly like it's going to kill our maneuverability. We put on these hydraulics, yep, that makes it go down as well, but we put the extra one on and that doesn't, so you can see how it's affecting all of these stats. So if we just finalize this very small typical build here, finalize current design, and you'll see that we've got an S-class terrible Corvettes, and again, you know, this is just for this purpose. Don't worry too much about this. We'll come on to this stuff in a moment and how to optimize all of this. We go to compare. I can probably just add this to collection, which I can. Now let's have a look at the base stats here and make a note of those. We come to our starship outfitting here in the space station. This is where we can actually upgrade our starship. Now this is going to cost you nanites to do this. Which from a C to a B is going to be 3,300. That's not too bad in terms of nanite price, but it has been upgraded. If we now have a look at the stats of the focus of destruction, if we have a look at our stats now and compare the two, you can see that there is a little bit of difference, and actually the damage potential has gone down, which is a little bit strange, but something that we can rectify. Let's put it up to an A, and we can see now that the stats have gone up even further, but the damage potential is what it was when it was a C class, so that's quite interesting. And from an A to an S, you can see that the damage, shield strength, hyperdrive range and maneuverability have gone up quite nicely, but there is still a lot more to do with this starship. So what we need to do is actually upgrade the storage space and technology space within the starship. So if we go in, so purchasing a storage slot or a tech slot is going to cost us over 18 million units, or we can use a starship augmentation by applying augmentation. As I'm in creative mode, I can just apply augmentation. The higher the class of the ship, the more storage slots and tech slots you can get in terms of purchasing and in terms of augmentation. So this is our current stats. Let's move these around and see how these stats start to go up. In terms of the core technology, we can now move this finally. For the first few days we couldn't do this. Update 6.02 has come out and now we can move them around. So I'm going to move around a bunch of these technologies, put them in certain slots, and then discuss how they are helping upgrade these stats. Okay, so I have moved them around, and what I've done is I've made sure that, for example, the hyperdrive is connected or adjacent to the reactor module that provides stats for the hyperdrive range and cell efficiencies. As you can see, I've got two here, and when they are glowing like this and they're next to each other, like the pulse engine here and the engines, then they are providing additional bonuses by being adjacent, and you can see that the stats have gone up. The reason why the shield strength has gone down is because one of the shields, particularly this one, was in a supercharged slot, and that does make it go up quite significantly, but I don't want it in there right this second. The maneuverability has gone very high, very nice, and is growing. The damage potential is the same because these guys are already touching. So make sure that you put them in square formations like this where you can. Move them around so they are in these kind of positions. Next thing I'm going to do is add in some of the upgrades. And these are not the upgrades you get from the space station. These are the upgrades that you get from the anomaly or from the missions that you can put in. For example, the Atlantid drive or the emergency warp engine, which allows you to warp out of freighter battles or pirate battles, like the efficient thrusters, which give you minus 20% launch cost, etc. I'm going to add these in and then see how they affect these stats. So I put in the upgrades on all of the tech here, and as you can see, the stats have gone up quite significantly, especially for the maneuverability. The hyperdrive range has gone up nicely. The shield strength not so much, but we've got a bit more to do with that. And the damage potential has gone up a little bit as well. And I've also put the infra knife in the supercharged slots, which I will change around in a moment. But as you can see, it has significantly improved the stats of our starship by putting in these items. Now these can be garnered different ways, and I'm not going to get into how to get all of these upgrades, but basically you can go to the anomaly and buy them all for nanites, and yeah, it's definitely worth getting them all. There are some things to note here, like these two, for example, boost maneuverability and boost to your starship, but they don't actually work alongside the pulse drive, so they're kind of separate from that. So just put them together. If you've got these fitted, that is. You might not have these fitted, you might have different ones and they might do different things. There are some technologies that don't actually boost at all. So for example, these aquajets do not work in terms of giving adjacency bonus. They're literally just to land on water. So we will just go with that for now. I've also got these twin dynamo jets in a supercharged slot, which is pushing our maneuverability up and over the 800 mark. If I put them out here, and look, it actually pushed them up like over 150 or so, something like that. Nope, 200. It's actually just 200 and something. So that's really good. If we put, say, this one in here, it doesn't do as much, look, because this one only has 34% efficiency in your pulse drive. This is actually doing your maneuverability boost and pulse drive efficiency. So just be selective about what you're putting into your supercharged slots. I have one empty here, and I'm leaving it empty for now. So what I've done is I've got a load of S-class upgrades or X-class upgrades. X-class can be good or terrible, depending on what ones you get. I do have a video on X-class upgrades if you want to know what they are. But yeah, there's a bunch of upgrades in here we now need to put in, which is going to boost our starship stats through the roof. And for some reason, the shield and maneuverability have disappeared. They will come back in a moment. What we'll do is we'll put those in, and we'll come back, and then we'll compare. So here we are, all my S-class upgrades and X-class and A in terms of shield strength here, which is actually better than these two X-class. So you can see the difference in those X-classes not being that great. I need to upgrade these, but I've put in a bunch of S-class upgrades and put some of them into supercharged slots, and I've been very careful about which ones to put in which supercharged slots to get my stats up as much as possible. As you can see, the maneuverability and the hyperdrive range are now through the roof. The shield strength is quite good, but could be better. Damage potential could definitely be better. One thing that is frustrating me is I'm not able to delete this photon cannon, which would be nice. Yeah, I don't know why I can't do that. So what I've done is I've put some upgrades on there. What I need really here is some S-class upgrades for these, which I thought I had. So I did have some X, which are not great, and one S-class upgrade for the photon cannon, which has put it up a little bit from like 217 to 221. So be very careful about what you are buying when you're buying upgrades, especially with the X-class. They can be a bit random when getting those, and definitely put them in the suitable positions. Make sure you have adjacency bonuses. Make sure you're putting the right thing into the supercharged technology. I haven't moved these around loads to get them better. This is just an example. And yeah, I mean, you will max out your Corvettes like nobody's business. I mean, that damage potential isn't great. It's okay. It will do the job. And as long as you have the infra knife fitted, which is the best one in my opinion, in terms of the weaponry for the Corvette or Starship, you'll be fine. So yeah, I mean, that is good. I like that amount. So obviously I'm not going to keep this one. This is just a example Corvette. One thing that does annoy me a little bit does annoy me a little bit is that there's not really a lot of room here to put in all of the starship trails or the figurines, which when put in the correct positions to offer hidden bonuses for maneuverability especially, and it does add some shield strength and some damage as well. If I could get those all in, that would be great, all sort of in the right positions with the adjacency bonuses. That would be fantastic. I'm going to have to try and work that out in one of my other Corvettes. So there you go, guys. That is how to max out the stats of your Corvette or Starship, depending on which way you want to go. Obviously, the Corvette's the only way to go now, isn't it? And when you do your bigger builds and you get even more reactors on there, even more shield strength, even more thrusters for maneuverability boost and whatever, these stats are going to be even better than this. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope it's helped you out in some way. Hopefully I will see you in the next video. Take care out there. Bye bye.